Great. Thanks a lot, Anne. Really key to think about how the supply chain all fits together. What I wanted to talk about briefly was the role of the advisor, and I thought I'd start by saying a little bit about, well, first of all, emphasizing that the advisor is just at the heart of making these programs successful. When I set up Policy and Practice just over 4 years ago, the idea was to try and make sure that advisors could focus on the customer opposite them by using software, technology, tools, and a really deep understanding of policy to make sure that they didn't need to try and stay on top of what is a very complex and changing welfare system. You know, if everything else can be made simple to understand, they can focus on the person opposite them and helping that person to take action and make the decisions that are right for them. And it is a very complex environment out there. So as well as the welfare system in itself being incredibly complicated, as well as thinking about the fact that you've got the rollout of universal credit with different people going on at different times, all the way through the length of the work and health program, you've got a whole range of other reforms coming into play. So here in the green, you've got things that are likely to have positive impacts on people's income, so ongoing increases in the national living wage that are expected from year to year, just by example. Changes in the taper rate of universal credit, but you've also got a lot of negative impacts. And I think your advisors need to be very aware of these changes so that they're going to be on the front line of explaining these changes to customers. If they can't do that confidently and competently in a way that really helps them to build trust with the customer, I think there's going to be a real challenge there in terms of building trust. So, for example, a couple of changes there, changes to the two-child rule, whereby you won't be able to receive additional payments for third and subsequent children. You know, that's a very difficult thing to explain, and actually having the guidance there for you will be key. Different challenges for 18 to 21-year-olds. And as I mentioned before, universal credit coming into play throughout. So that's a pretty complex thing for advisors to explain. What do the DWP expect? I'd say they expect even more of advisors than in the previous program when you think about having to tie into all of that whole web of local support programs. So alongside these national reforms on the previous slide, you've also got a whole range of sort of different local support offers that, again, customers might be able to tap into, advisors might be able to tap into, but they need to be aware of them. They need to be able to point people in the right direction. That's something our software does. So we've been modelling council tax support schemes for over 40 local authorities across the country. We've got the whole of the UK built into our model. We've also been looking at helping them to determine how they allocate discretionary housing payments. So we can determine through our modelling engine whether or not a customer might qualify. Now, you're going to be working with the most vulnerable groups of individuals. There's a likelihood that if they're affected by changes they might be struggling to pay their rent, particularly as people move on to universal credit. Knowing that they can tap into these other forms of support and these other sort of funding streams is a great way to help the customer, help build that trust between the customer and the advisor, and also do what DWP want you to do, which is align these funding streams behind the individual to give them the best possible chance of focusing and moving into work. As I mentioned, the backdrop to this is universal credit. Around that, you've got other things that DWP want you to focus on. So universal support, you're working with the most vulnerable customers, making sure they're able to claim universal credit effectively, budget both upon as they move on to universal credit, but also as they move into work, and also helping them to progress into work. So these are things that I think advisors are going to need to be able to have the tools to think about. Alongside that, advisors need to do what they're great at, bringing it every day, energy, enthusiasm, passion, that commitment to try and transform the lives of customers and program participants is key. And the more they can focus on this, the better they'll do with delivering job outcomes. As I mentioned at the start, Work and Health program is built around the advisor and their relationship with customers. And I'd say that advisors who have more time to work with customers who are engaged and motivated to look for work are going to achieve better outcomes. That's helping advisors achieve that was the foundation of Policy and Practice as a business. What I wanted is for advisors to focus on their strengths, so the people skills, the empathy that they have, the ability to help develop detailed action plans, help individuals overcome the setbacks they're undoubtedly going to face as they're trying to take those steps into work, and help them to build upon momentum when there are successes. And focusing on those things, helping that transition into work and the relationship is critical. Now, that's hard enough, as we all know. But they're also going to have to, around that, understand and explain a complex and changing welfare system, link into local support, while making sure that the most effective support is what's being offered to the customer. And I think the more help you can give them to do that, the more successful they'll be in terms of achieving outcomes. Now, I wanted to include here just a brief quote from Sean Williams, who many of you will know, formerly Managing Director of G4S's Welfare to Work division. He's an investor in policy and practice, and I thought I'd include a quick quote just sort of explaining why he decided to do that. He started his career as a frontline advisor in welfare to work, and he saw how powerful better off in work and better off in work calculations could be, and how poorly understood they were at the moment. His view was that our work was the best on the market. That's why he's taken that step to invest in us. And actually, we've taken that investment and made significant additional investments in our software, which I'll give you a sneak peek of now. Very happy to follow up. So what we've got here is a system that's fast, easy, engaging, comprehensive, and perhaps most importantly, outcome-focused. It needs to do, it's a better off calculator, so it needs to be an accurate and comprehensive. That's the basic element of a calculator. But just being that in itself, we've learned, isn't enough. So what we've been doing is using the engine behind it to model the impacts of welfare changes on hundreds of thousands of households at any time for local authorities, helping them to target support in advance. We update all of those policies automatically and notify you through the system. And importantly, you're able to sort of dive in and see exactly how a calculation was reached. That's what gives advisors the confidence in the system to be able to use it when they're giving advice to customers. We've made it incredibly fast, incredibly simple, so it's even faster to use than our current Better Off in Work calculator, which was already best in class. It takes as little as 2 minutes to go from initial question with a customer to a Better Off in Work calculation like this, so they can see how much better off in work they would be. We do that by dynamically generating the questions, so advisors are only asking the questions they need to get to the right answer. But we're also ensuring that they're asking the questions they do need to, so it's comprehensive in that sense too. You can save and retrieve cases as caseloads move and people move from one partner to another. And we've tried to make it incredibly engaging and outcome-oriented, so visually being able to see that you're better off in work was an innovation we introduced, again, 3 or 4 years ago. But alongside that, it's tailored to generate the relevant actions for that individual, linking into local support. One example is as soon as you can see that you're better off in work, that can tie you into universal job match. Like, okay, I can be better off in work. What jobs are there available? You can immediately show that to them. And we've invested heavily in just having a beautiful user experience and built-in guidance built in. I'll give you a quick sneak peek. So hopefully you can still see this. Janet, can you just confirm that's visible to everyone? Probably muted. But here's an example of the system.
Sorry,
so
Gavin,
you
yes,
can all
you
see
can
this.
Yeah, sorry.
Great. And you can just click in here to see exactly how a calculation was reached. Just one innovation is the ability to show that you can be better off in work. And what we've done is introduce these sliders so you can see exactly how much better off in work you could be. What if you were to progress in work and get a higher paying job? It just automatically calculates the results on the fly. So if you've got people moving into flexible hours work, that's just one innovation that we've introduced of a number of others that we'd love to talk to you about. I'll just talk very briefly about a few of the other benefits. I think Policy and Practice was set up to be more than just a software company. So our analytical services help local authorities to target support and identify and engage the people that can benefit. So for example, people who are affected by the benefit cap, we were able to tell local authorities who those people were well in advance of the DWP. An example of how that might be useful where those relationships can be built between health and work providers and local authorities would be to say, for example, and this is an actual sort of screenshot from our service that we provide to local authorities, there are 6 households eligible for, say, the Work and Health Programme around Hanworth Park, and you could, working with the local authority, target information to each one of those households. A couple of other questions we often get. So security is built in, all our surveys are based in the UK, databases are encrypted, we've got advanced user management, so you get clear and accurate management information, but only customers from particular subcontractors can see their cases and their caseloads. Self-service is always key. How can technology be a key part of the program is, I think, something you should try and address in your bid. And our approach to self-service helps save advisors time, but also means that you can upskill your customers. So flicking back to that universal support offer that DWP, I think, will be looking for. And we've got a built-in budgeting tool, so we don't charge any extra. All of the features are sort of built in and customized. Another big aspect of what we've learned over the last few years working with Serco, G4S, Interserve, and many others is that the software is only as good as its implementation. So we include a standard strong account management, ongoing contact. You'll have a person who you can speak with. There'll be a chat box built into the software, so if any of your customers have any questions and queries, it was on the slide just before, but you can just type in an answer and you'll get straight to our team, and they'll answer questions for you on the fly. And it's great to have had Gemma Johnston of Serco give us this quote. She was really pleased with, I think, how we introduced the software into Serco and the support they got from policy and practice to bed in the new service, and for that to be ongoing is a great benefit to us as well, because we get to see exactly what you want in the next version of the software, which is exactly what we've invested in, and we'd love to share more of that with you.